I'm going to show you a tool here if you want to save the most money you can on Bitcoin fees. And if you have the knowledge and the confidence to do this, this works great. I've used it myself. Because in the fees, people don't really realize it. You know, depending on the time of day, what you're sending, your transaction fees can be easily 10 or 20 times more than you could pay if you know what you're doing. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put this tool link in the description below, the description of the video, so you need to go there to see the web address. Also, if this is helpful to you and saves you some money, tips are always appreciated. If you've got Bitcoin or Ethereum, you want to send something to my wallet addresses, I'll put them there too. That'd be cool. So here we go. This is a guy who mines Bitcoin, looks like, and he has published his real-time memory pool. He's a node on the blockchain. And so what you're really seeing here is his real-time memory and unconfirmed transaction count statistics, which could be extrapolated into the larger network, but this is, if you read at the bottom of the page, it's not meant to reflect the entire network because there is no, full network visibility like that, as far as I'm aware and what it says there. So what you're looking at here is unconfirmed transaction count. Now, right here, this is a, let's change it to a 2-hour, this is a 2-hour period. So all of what you're seeing here is from left to right is 10-minute increments, 2 hours, and then top to bottom, you're seeing gradients of color, which is transaction fee amounts, which are noted in Satoshis. You'll see them as sats up here. Satoshi is a decimal place of a Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is denominated in 8 decimal places. So one Satoshi is, 8 decimal points out 1. And you have the option to designate your fee when you send a Bitcoin transaction. And that's where it can get tricky, but it's also where you can save a decent amount of money, especially if you transact often. So if you look at this, again, this is his real time. This is a 2-hour block. So what you're seeing here is in each band, so let's start at the bottom, one Satoshi per byte. There's 48, well, at this time where my cursor is, there's 49,000 transactions sitting there that are unconfirmed and just sitting there. And you can go up the scale here and put your cursor in all of them. You can see how many in each band and where. Now up here, why does it look like a zigzag puzzle? Well, if you know or don't know, in the Bitcoin code, on average, it's designed for a block of transactions to be created every 10 minutes over a long time. Not 10 minutes like a train schedule, but each block only has enough size for a certain amount of transactions, because each transaction contains data. So the more transactions, the more data, the less that can fit in a block. Think of it like a subway train. And so once these blocks are filled up and created, then they go for the hash solving, and they solve the hash, and it drops down, and everybody goes for the next block creation. And they try to solve the hash, and so this is how the pattern goes. So what you're seeing here is from a fee point of view. Now again, this is this is what, 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. So what you're seeing here, more or less, is the fees are not dropping down into anything lower than really maybe 40 or 50 Satoshis per byte. That's it. And even more, it's going back up. Now let me show you something on a 24-hour basis. Now, 24 hours, it's drastically different. What you see here is this whole rush hour thing. This is during the day. But over here, if you look at the low point, it's around right here, around midnight to 2 in the morning. And that's a pattern I usually see, about midnight to 2 in the morning, midnight to 4 in the morning. That's the low point where everything slows down, there's lesser transactions, blocks are created a lot faster, and therefore it's able to eat through all of these high fee transaction volume ones, and then in the slowdown period, it's able to catch up and start eating down through these lower fee transactions that have been sitting there for, who knows how long. So if you got the luxury to wait, that's great. You can target your fees so that they're transacted at this time of day and go on about your life. Now, if you got to send something right away and it's that time of day, the exchanges or your wallet usually will suggest a real-time fee suggestion based on the current transaction traffic. And it may even be split into like a high priority, a standard, or a low priority, and they'll suggest, well, if you can wait 30 minutes, use the low. If you need it, in the next block, they'll go for the high, and you'll pay. It's like paying overnight shipping, on an airplane, and it'll be, massive amounts higher than you normally pay. But again, the strategy is to use this tool, look at the pattern, and then decide, okay, you know what? If I can wait until overnight for it to send, right here, it's diving down into this band pretty easily, 5 Satoshis. Wouldn't get too cute though and get too low though. Maybe you go up a couple, 8 Satoshis, 6, somewhere around there. Again, look at this chart and the pattern and know the history. Because here's a dangerous thing too. If you only go 30 days out, go back to 30 days. This is Christmas time over here. Things are slowing down. This first band here, 1 Satoshi, it's getting down in here, maybe 2, and getting some of these transactions. And if you remember, there's a big run up after the New Year around the holidays. And now you've got all this volume coming into the first week of January. And for all this time, look at all these transactions. It never got down into any of this blue or some of this green. And that's, 8, maybe 10 Satoshis. And in some days, look at it, it's up here 20, 30 for days. These transactions are all just sitting there for days, not going anywhere because they're getting outbid basically. The volume and people outbidding, it's like a subway car or an airplane. There's only so much volume, and if they're paying more for a ticket, more demand, everybody here is going to sit there on their hands and have to wait. That's the danger of having a fee that's too low if you have to have something sent right away. So make sure you look at the current chart, whatever time period is appropriate for you, and then, say, okay, well, yeah, I can wait. It looks like there's nothing crazy going on. I can wait and set my fee at X. Maybe it's 10 Satoshis. But just be careful about that because that's a whole other thing we'll do another video on is if you get your transaction stuck, so to speak, if you make your fee too low, let's say you make it 1, just as an example. Here we got 43,000 transactions down here. You're never going to get transacted anytime soon. I mean, based on the current traffic and patterns, it's never going to get down there. And now what? It's going to be stuck. Well, there's, again, a whole other series of solutions and problems that go with that. And it's scary and it can possibly be undone. But, like I said, don't get too cute. Make sure you stay within the bands that you are very confident will get transacted, but just later in the night. In other words, don't do the rush hour and pay 10 times more than you should. So that is it, and I would just encourage you to do your research, make sure you're comfortable with what you're doing, and before you go pull the trigger, like in wallet, in some of these exchanges, you can't necessarily designate the fee. You might be able to select between high, medium, and low, but in a lot of personal wallets, if you have an offline wallet or hardware wallet, you can go to advanced settings and manually set that fee. But just be careful. If you set it too low, you can cause yourself additional problems, and it is not pleasant. So there are solutions, though, if you do that. It'll either cost you time or money or both to fix them, like most things in life. So use this tool. Hopefully it's great for you. If you transact a lot, you're probably going to save a lot of money over time. But if you're just doing 1 or 2 once in a while, it may be just over your head and you don't want to take the risk. Then go with the pre-selected fee structures that are recommended by your whatever wallet you're sending from. All right, thanks and good luck.